All right, welcome back. This is module 4 of the wholesaling class. In this module, we're going to focus on finding properties. Now, like we do with every module, I have to share a quick disclaimer with you. I am not a licensed attorney, accountant, financial advisor, real estate broker, real estate agent, or any other licensed individual. I'm just a student, just like you guys, and I've had a lot of success with what I'm sharing with you. So I want you to have the same success. So let's learn this stuff together, and let's go out and have that success that we're looking for. Now, like I mentioned before, we focus a lot on in wholesaling. It's a process that we use that's just like what we talked about in the finding off-market deals class. So in this section, we're going to talk about finding properties. That lines up with step 1 of lead generation. I know we're going a little bit out of order in this class, but I wanted to put it in an order that makes sense in the context of wholesaling. So right now we're going to be talking about step 1. Make sure, I know I've said this multiple times, but make sure that you've reviewed the finding off-market deals or the off-market deals on tap class, because it's going to go into a lot more detail on some of the minutia of each one of these sections. So let's talk about where to find these deals. Now, the lead generation sources that I like to use are all centered around helping people solve problems. There's 2 types of home sellers. There's the kind of home seller that lists their house with an agent and usually just wants to get as much money as they possibly can out of the sale of their house. As real estate investors, we need discounts, especially when it comes to wholesaling or fixing and flipping, stuff like that. Like, we have to buy these properties at a discount so we can do what we need to do with them and mark them up. And wholesaling is no exception, because usually you're turning these deals over to fix and flippers. So what we do is we focus on the second time of home buyer, and that's the one that, or home seller, excuse me. That's the one that is interested in selling their house because they have some sort of problem that they need to solve. So a lot of times we can find these people before they ever even reach out to an agent and get a lot of attention on the open market, and we do that by using a lot of times public record. I use the county record of the county that I'm looking in to find these types of individuals that are on the screen. Now let's go through some of those: absentee owners, bankruptcies, people that own their properties free and clear, people that have high equity, people that have low equity. The evictions list, that's a public record as well. Anytime a landlord wants to evict their tenant, if they're going to do it legally, they have to file with the county first, and a public record is created. So the reason I like to use that one, and I'm just going to make a quick note on that, the reason I like to use that one is because I can find really good rental properties by finding landlords and rental owners that have a high turnover rate. That means they're probably frustrated, and I can go in and negotiate with them about taking over their property. Pre-foreclosures, people who are about to get foreclosed on. Probates, which is usually people who have passed away and left their house behind, and now it's the state's job to figure out, whether the family members get it or the state gets it or what the case is. So that process is called probate. People who are upside down on their houses. Sometimes chemical contamination in the houses, like meth or mold. Divorces. It's really easy to split up stuff. You take the couch, I'll take the chair. You take one TV, I'll take the other one. But a lot of times people who are getting a divorce only have one house, and you can't really split a house in half. So usually that's a point of contention. We can come in and solve that problem for them as real estate investors. So I've found a lot of success out of talking to divorce cases, people who have filed divorce. Property taxes, vacant homes, expired listings, for sale by owner. These are all fantastic areas to start searching for those properties that are going to lead to good deals. Now remember, like we talked about in the previous module, it's all about the math. So you're going to use this to generate the leads. Then you have to do the math to see if the property is even going to be worth it. And that math will give you an offer price. Obviously, once we make the offer, the seller gets to decide whether or not they're going to accept the price that we need it for. If they don't, move on. If they do, then it's a deal that's worth pursuing. Now, if you currently have a scarcity mindset about property leads, think about how many owners in your area fit into these categories. Most of these haven't even hit the market yet. So there really is a treasure trove of properties out there with distressed homeowners, or the property itself is distressed. We can come in and solve those problems. And remember that you're becoming an educated investor. You've got the solutions for people. Most people are not educated investors. Most people have no idea how to solve these problems they're facing. So if you can come in and provide a solution to the problem, and a lot of times that includes a cash offer, right? Or some kind of offer that provides that solution, then people are very, very open to the idea of selling you their property. Now, let's also talk about ways to market. So the previous slide was about how we go out, kind of more of an outbound approach, how we go out and we identify these people and reach out to them. Well, you can also use strategies where you put up some marketing and then people call you. Now, I recommend using both outbound and inbound strategies. So you don't necessarily have to. You can use one or the other. I just think you get more results by taking more action, right? So that's my recommendation, is take massive action. Use all of these ideas. Everything works, nothing doesn't, right? So some of these marketing ideas, lead generation sources. You can send out mail campaigns. I've done campaigns with postcards before where I blanket an area in postcards and get people calling me back that are interested in selling their house. And I love that because when they call me back, I know they're interested in selling their house. So it's a very warm lead at that point. Outbound calling. You can hire a call center. I've done that in the past with much success. Bandit signs. These are great. Bandit signs are cheap. They're easy. It's very little effort comparatively. So what I've done, I've tried printing vinyl signs. I've also gotten little blank vinyl signs and handwritten with Sharpie. I find that the handwritten ones work better. And the reason is because, and when I'm talking bandit signs, I'm talking about a little corrugated plastic sign that's maybe a foot by 2 feet, right? With a little H-frame thing that you can stick it into the grass, or sometimes I zip tie it to a pole or something. But the bandit signs work really well when they're handwritten. I found that I got a much higher response rate when they're handwritten. And I think it's because we're so surrounded and inundated by printing, right? When you're driving down the road, how many billboards do you just ignore, right? How many advertisements out there do you just ignore? We're surrounded and inundated by printing. So a nice professional printed sign costs more, but it's also just white noise. It just fits into everything else. The handwritten stuff tends to draw attention because you don't see a lot of handwritten stuff out when you're driving around. So I found success in putting those signs in places where people stop regularly. So maybe at stoplights, in turning lanes, at stop signs. If they're driving past at 45 miles an hour and you've got your message on there, we buy ugly houses with your phone number. A lot of times they don't have enough time to write down the phone number or take a picture of the sign. So put it in places where vehicles are going to be stopping. Because they tend to have a little bit more time to write down the number, to call the number, whatever the case might be. Door knocking is something that we've had a lot of success with. My wife actually has background in door-to-door sales, and so we put together a team of people out door knocking. We've had a lot of success with that, just approaching people and canvassing a neighborhood. Sticky notes, where you handwrite sticky notes. Again, printed ones don't have a lower success rate than handwritten ones. But I've also tried handwriting one, taking a digital copy of it, and then printing out sticky notes that look like they're handwritten. Those work very well, and it's a little more efficient than sitting and handwriting each individual note. It's totally up to you how you do it, but just take the sticky note, write on there, "I'm interested in purchasing your house. Call me if you'd like to receive a cash offer." Your name, your phone number, stick it on their door. Right? Sticky notes are a great way to do that, and it's very personal if it's handwritten. So it gets a really good return rate. And then I think one of the most underappreciated sources for marketing is warm market. And what I mean by warm market, these are people you already know. So when we're talking about outbound calling, if you're calling people who are in pre-foreclosure, you don't know any of those people. You're calling cold, right? You have zero relationship with them. You've got to start from scratch with those people. But the people that you know, your friends, your family, your coworkers, these people might have people that they know that are in stressful situations. So about, on a regular basis, maybe once a month or so, I will text out to everybody in my phone and I'll say, "Hey, for those of you who don't know, I'm a real estate investor. I help people solve problems like bankruptcy, foreclosure, divorce, etc. We can buy these houses cash. I'm very interested in helping anybody that you know that's in that situation. Is there anybody that you have in mind that I can reach out to, right? Just something along those lines. And you end up getting a handful of text messages back. I wouldn't do that necessarily every day, because then you start bugging people and they're going to start ignoring you, right? But if you do it once a month or once a quarter, your warm market is really a huge cache of people that know other people that are in bad situations. And sometimes they even get text messages back saying, hey, I'm going through a divorce, or I'm going through a bankruptcy. I could really use your help. So it's not just about who they know. Sometimes it's them that's going through that situation. And, you have no way of knowing, because people don't like to post negative things on their social media. At least most people don't. Most people are posting positive things, right? So this really gives you an opportunity to connect with those people and help them out of bad situations. And I find that a lot of newer real estate investors have a lot of heartburn about reaching out to their warm market, and they're missing out on a huge segment of people that they could be working with to help solve their problems, as well as pick up off-market deals at a discount. So that's huge. I wouldn't discount the warm market part of it at all. Make sure that you're using all of these strategies. Remember, everything works, nothing doesn't. And when it comes to finding properties, it's something that you have to take massive action with. So make sure that you're getting out, you're trying all of these things, or as many of them as you can. Just get out there and take action. That's the most important part. Now, let's talk about the specifics of finding a property. Profit margin is what's important. Profit margin is how you're going to get your buyers, the investors that you're selling the contract to, it's how you're going to get them interested in the property. Obviously, everybody invests in real estate because they want to make money. So always make sure you're doing the math. Never invest emotionally. If you watch the off-market deals on tap class, that's one of our rules. Never invest emotionally, right? Let the math be your guide. If there's no margin, walk away. However, make sure that before you walk away that you've considered all options and uses. And what I mean by that is analyze the deal as a fix and flip. If the numbers don't work as a fix and flip, analyze it as a rental. It might work as a rental, right? If it doesn't work as a rental, analyze it as an Airbnb or an air cash flow strategy. And for more information there, check out the air cash flow class. But there's more than one way to skin a cat in real estate. So make sure that you're looking and considering all options and uses for those properties. Now, here's a tip. Review your buyer's list prior to the offer. You may be able to make a quick turn. So whenever I'm going and looking at a property, knowing I'm going to wholesale it, I've always reviewed my buyer's list and the notes that I have in my buyer's list before I view the property. Because then I'm refreshed on what my buyers are looking for. And I may be able to just call someone while I'm right there at the property and say, hey, do you want this? I did that with a property that I made a $15,000 wholesale fee on. I had it in my control for about 20 minutes. So I made 15 grand in 20 minutes. It was really cool. And then actually I did it all over text message. So now that is not a typical result, right? That's an extraordinary example, but I'm just sharing with you what's possible. So make sure you review your buyer's list. And we're going to talk more about the buyer's list and what that looks like and how to organize that. But you should always be aware of and documenting who your potential buyers are, what they're looking for, etc. My favorite way to do that is just on Google Sheets. I just have a spreadsheet where I can pull up on my phone and look at my different buyers and what it is they're looking for. And a lot of times the properties that I'm standing in, that I'm reviewing, are a perfect match for a handful of my buyers. And then always remember to know the difference between junk versus ugly. Junk is something that would just take too much money to fix, that it's just in too bad a shape, and there really wouldn't be any profit margin after you put the amount of money that's needed in to fix it up. But that's very different than ugly. There are ugly deals out there where you walk in and it smells like cats, and it's, there's dirt on the walls, and it looks like, the place hasn't been cleaned in 20 years. But it's got good bones and it's got good structure, and it wouldn't take too much, a little bit of cleaning, fresh coat of paint, some new carpet, and the like, and this place is beautiful. So, make sure that you understand the difference between junk versus ugly. Junk a lot of times are the ones that have structural damage, or that have some sort of mechanical problems, like the electrical system or the plumbing, or there's all sorts of examples there. But really, the definitive thing is being able to look through the dirt and the grime and the smell and tell the difference between something that's just going to cost way too much to fix and something that's just dirty and ugly and just needs a little bit of love and care, a little bit of TLC to fix it up, right? So make sure you're conscious of that as you're looking at these properties. Is this junk, or is it just ugly and can be fixed up? Because ugly is a potential deal, junk is not. Walk away from the junk. So that wraps up our finding properties section, module 4. Like I said, for more information on this, we've got a lot more for you in the off-market deals on tap class, so make sure you check that out as well. That's the sister class to this wholesaling class. That concludes module 4. Next, in module 5, we're going to be talking about deal analysis. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys over there.